How's it going, guys? I hope you're all doing well out there today, wherever you are in the world. And in this video, we're going to look at something I get asked about more than probably anything on this channel, and that is the Headrush monitors. Because I do a lot of modeling stuff, I think I get asked a lot, what do you think of the Headrush 108, the 112s? And I've never tried them, so I never give my feedback on them. I've always preferred using a guitar cab on stage as opposed to a full range thing with like the Kemper. But I was feeling a little unhappy with my cab sound on stage, so I thought, you know what? Let's try the full range flat response thing, and I picked myself up a Headrush 108 monitor, and this is supposedly 2000 watts, full range flat response cab. If you're unsure about the difference between full range flat response and guitar cabs and what that might mean for you, I did do a full video on the subject. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a link somewhere up here or possibly in the description if you want to check it out. Yeah, so this is 2000 watts. It's got an 8-inch driver and a horn in the top. And so it's essentially like a PA speaker or a full range monitor. And in this video, I want to talk to you about the pros and cons, what I actually think of it. I've taken this out to a number of gigs in a number of different situations, and I thought it would be quite a nice video to have a more practical understanding of this in proper situations. There's going to be no sound clips in this video. If you know about full range flat response speakers, they're a pain to capture. You can't close mic them like guitar speakers. And when I've tried to capture the audio, it doesn't do it justice at all. So this is going to be more of a description and pros and cons video for anyone looking to pick one of these up. Now, feature-wise, on the back of the cabinet, you've got two input sources, and they are the combi jacks for either 1/4 inch or XLR. So you can come out of any of your chosen modeling solutions. You've also got an output here, and then you've got a ground lift for that output if you wanted to use it to DI onto your mixer or anything like that. And then you've also got a sort of frequency switch which scoops the mids, which is a little counterintuitive for guitar, but we'll go into that in a little bit. So I've been using it now for I think around 3 months in various situations. I've used it on bigger gigs as a personal stage monitor along with in-ear monitors when I'm using the Kemper. I've used it on a few different like pub gigs, smaller close quarters type thing, and I've been really impressed with it. I'm sure the first question that you're going to ask is about volume. Is it loud enough? Is it ballsy enough? And short answer is yes, it is. I have not really come close to clipping it other than on one gig in a certain situation with a particularly loud band. It's, you know, I've used it in theatres. It's got plenty of balls and body. The thing I would say about it is it's almost a little bit too heavy on the bottom end, especially when you're placing this on the floor. You've got to be careful with your sort of low cut and bass content of the sounds that you're putting into it, but it's got plenty of balls for most situations. Like I said, again, if you're not familiar with the full range thing, you've got to be quite careful about how you dial stuff in. In a live situation, you're going to want plenty of mid-range in there. It's not like having a guitar amp on stage that's naturally, the speakers are very mid-heavy anyway. You've got to make sure you've got that dialed into the profiles or the models to really get it to cut through live. I would say another thing about this is it's a great shape to be sort of a wedge down on the floor. However, I've got better results in smaller places, actually raising it up from the floor. So decoupling it, less bass traveling through the floor, and you can also get it to the right height to kind of hit your ear in the right way. Sometimes you don't want the guitar hitting you right in the ear because it can be a bit trebly, falsely trebly if you like, because you're not used to sticking your head right in front of a guitar amp. So yeah, I would say placement is quite important. I think the beauty of something like this is obviously a lot of us move to modelers and things like that to reduce stage volume, also weight. Obviously this is a very light piece of gear, but we're trying to reduce stage volume for both like out front and also the people on stage. And something like this comes in super handy because I feel like on gigs I can angle it towards me away from everyone else. On the bigger gigs I have it in front of me almost like a wedge slightly to the side, so it's directed away from the sound man, keeping the front of house nice and clean. And it really does a good job of a nice compromise of you having plenty of volume on stage to do your thing, get your feedback and your feel, but also keep the volume perceived down around you and out front. So having used this quite a bit now, there is some cons that I've found with this, but it's mainly to do with other things than the sound. It's more of a feature set thing. First of all, it's a very compact little monitor. It's very light, and you place it down like this. The problem is, because of the size, if you place it down with the Headrush logo as it should be, all of your cables that you plug in hit the deck. So I always have to use it upside down if I'm going to do it in a wedge type situation, so the cables don't hit the floor. That's because of the positioning of both the power jack and the inputs. You have to place it upside down, which is a bit of an oversight on Headrush's part. And I don't know, you might be able to flip this grill, but for gigs I've just been taping over this so my OCD doesn't go crazy. Another thing that I would say is a possible negative is this through jack here is sort of like a DI output if you want to run your modeler or whatever into here and then out into the desk. The only problem is the volume control on the back here actually affects that output, so you can't adjust your own personal stage volume without affecting the output, which I think is a bit of an oversight, especially as they've added a ground lift, so it does function very much like a DI. Another thing that I would regard as a negative that could be easily improved is the signal limit light, so like the clip light, is placed on the back of the speaker where you're never going to see it in a live situation, especially because this is designed for guitarists. I think it would be great to have that LED somewhere on the front so you can see it if it's in a wedge in front of you. You can see how much you're pushing, or if it's behind you, you can see how much it's pushing without trying to peek around the back to see what it's doing. Another thing I'm not particularly sure about is they've added this mid-scoop kind of switch. I don't know if it's a mid-scoop or it just boosts the bass and the treble, but for a guitar monitor that's fairly counterintuitive to me, and having it on sounds fairly dreadful in most situations. So I think I'd like to see that switch be something more practical in a guitar situation, say like a bass roll-off, like a low cut to control the rumble and things. I think that would be a good feature. To be perfectly honest, I would like to see a very basic EQ set on this as well, just so you've got control of, say, bass and treble. When you go room to room, that's the thing you want to dial in. And yeah, obviously you can do it on your particular modeler or profiler, but it's nice to have some hands-on control to not have to keep tweaking menus and things when you get to a venue, and it means that you can tailor your on-stage sound and not affect what you're sending to front of house. So my overall review for the Headrush 108 monitor is that I think personally, for the money, this is a perfect entry into a full range solution for your modeler. It's not for everyone. A lot of people get a full range solution and then wonder why it doesn't sound or feel like a cab. So it's something that needs to be tried by the individual person, and I think this is a great gateway into it. It sounds relatively flat compared to, you know, your front of house PA. As I state in that video that I did, even though PA speakers and that are full range flat response, the response of them varies fairly wildly. I would say that this comes across as perhaps slightly scooped in the lower mids compared to where I've listened to this and then gone to listen to a PA. But it does a really good job. It's plenty loud. I got this second hand and I paid, I believe, £120 for it. I think they're just over £200 new, and I really don't think you can go wrong. The advantage of this kind of thing as well is I've actually used it for other solutions since I've owned it, because it's basically a PA speaker. I've used it live with my Roland guitar synth because obviously it's full range. I've used it just as a monitor on stage when I depped with a band that didn't have monitor in. I just took it along, plugged it into the PA like a normal monitor so I could hear vocals and stuff on stage. So it's a great utility thing to have around as well, but it works great for guitar. Obviously, like I said, there's some improvements that I would personally make. Perhaps there'll be a Mark II version at some point, but yeah, for now I think this is a great solution. I would say I would definitely take the 108 over the 112. Not that I've heard it, but there's nothing lacking in this that would warrant the extra size and weight of the 112. If you have any questions about the Headrush, I'm now somewhat equipped to answer them, so please leave them in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps push the channel forward. And I'll see you again in another video soon. Cheers, guys.